keep talking?
All right, Mark, give me a message on Skype if you're ready to go. Oh, I see you just got back. Are you ready to go? Okay. Here we go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the debut episode of Hotline League. Taking your calls, joined right now by Mark Zimmerman. How's it going, Mark?
Pretty good. Had a long day. It's going to keep getting longer. I was watching VODs all day, had a meeting with Riot, went to Scar's house. Now I'm here. Going to try and be up till about 5 a.m. Again, my sleep schedule is set for Worlds.
Yeah. Well, for those of you that don't know what this show is, it's pretty much all of you because Mark and I are still figuring out what it is, but we like the idea of having a call-in show. And so here we are, Hotline League. It's 10 p.m. on a Wednesday, and so we know that everybody's sitting at home right now. You're thinking, you got some questions about League of Legends, you got some questions about your life, you got some questions about esports, and my co-host Mark and I are here to answer those questions and give you all the advice you could ever need.
Yeah, anything is valid. You're an angry TSM fan about how you're getting hated on by Thorn and all these other bullies. You can call in, let us know how that feels. Talking about Worlds, what teams you're looking out for, what it's like being a bronze scrub. Anything and everything will be fielded almost. But the way it's going to work is you guys can type what you want to talk about in the general chat of the Discord, which Travis will be putting on screen. And then I'll be kind of pruning who I think looks like they have some interesting stuff to say. I'll pull you into the waiting room, make sure your microphone's working, all that kind of stuff. And then when we're good to go, we'll bring you on air for a conversation.
There you go. So you heard it right there. Join the Discord. Get in the chat. Get going. You're gonna when you join, you're gonna put your question in the general chat, and then Mark is gonna go ahead and we'll figure out how to get you in. In the meantime, Mark, while the Discord is filling up and people are putting their questions in the chat and everything's going on, talk to me about Worlds Prep because you're getting ready. This is on the horizon.
Yep. I just had a 2-hour meeting at Riot, and it was the whole on-air broadcast team talking about like storylines we want to hit for every team, stuff like that. So I have watched groups A, D, part of B, and part of C. So I still have a little bit more prep to do, to be 100% honest, but I got some long nights ahead of me to do that.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of people in chat making fun of my lighting compared to you, so I think I need to go run into my room and steal a light.
I mean, you can't. I think people just like the color of my lighting.
That's what I mean. I have a colored light. I just
oh,
need to
really?
grab it.
Okay.
That's not racist, by the way.
Well, if you want to do that, okay. Are you going to do that?
Yeah, I'll be right back.
Okay.
This will give time for chat to put some questions in there.
Yeah.
Or ideas
during
they want to talk
during
about.
this time, I will keep the chat company. Get people going. Yeah, we don't have the Discord link yet. We're still figuring it out. But it's an exciting first time here on the pilot of Late Night or of Hotline League. I just realized I was not actually recording this, so hopefully the Twitch VOD is good. You Resist Impulse, your question, you go ahead and join the Discord. Put that in the general chat in the Discord. The Discord information is on screen right now. And we'll add you to the call in just a short time. I need to mute Mark on Discord so that I don't get double noise here in a second. You guys single? We're not answering those types of questions here. Alex asking about if she can sleep on my couch for 2 weeks. I'm leaving for China soon. It's a complicated time. Discord is in the chat, though. As you can see, we're off to a great start while Mark gets his lighting situation set up. Sammy is planning on sleeping in my bed while I'm in China right now, so that's part of the problem. But if you want to come down next week, maybe... Actually, I'm going up to NorCal tomorrow, so we'll figure it out. But we'll do it whenever we're not on the show, all right? We're going to talk about it. We'll figure it out, Alex. We'll figure something interesting out. Looks like we got some questions coming in the chat as we're getting the show going. If you're watching the VOD, you can skip this part. It's kind of boring. We're still figuring stuff out. There are technical challenges involved in this kind of thing. And I'll put my esports glasses back on while we wait for this to figure out. I know. Very unprofessional. I agree. Very, very unprofessional. Twitch chat. Talk to me. Subs get preferential treatment, right? That is a plan for later on. I have to figure out how to link my Discord to, or link this Discord to the Twitch chat so that I can see who are subs and so that we can give them preferential treatment. But, if your name is Zodiac Sheep, which it looks like it is in the Discord, we'll be able to hopefully hook you up. There we go. We got some blue and red lighting going. Okay. We're figuring it out. Oh, it changes colors. That's not going to be distracting at all. Not going to be distracting at all, Mark, listening to it change colors. Oh, hang on. I need to unmute you on the Discord. I just realized you mute Skype. Okay. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it going to be too bad? I can...
You know what? We'll try it for a little bit and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I can try and dig up the remote, but I figured right now...
Yeah. So I noticed Mike Spam and Zodiac Sheep both in the Discord, ready to join the chat and talk to us. They're subs, so I believe in them. They're not going to have stupid questions. If you want to pull them in.
I see Mike Spam's question. What was the other guy's name again?
Zodiac Sheep. Go ahead and pull Mike Spam in, maybe.
Yeah, I'll grab Mike Spam.
Okay.
I'll be right back. I got to go in the waiting room, make sure his mic's good to go.
Okay. I see some questions. Yeah, Zodiac Sheep, you should repost the question. In the Discord chat. You join the Discord, which I'm sure will get linked in just a moment. Elevator music. I agree with that. Here, we'll play.
He's in. Mike Spam's joining us.
Okay. Hello,
I am.
Mike Spam.
Hi,
you want to go
Travis.
by Mike Spam? Is that your...
Sure.
Okay.
That's fine by me.
And where are you from, Mike Spam?
The suburbs of Seattle. Good
Suburbs
sir.
of Seattle. We got Mike Spam calling in with a question. Mike Spam, what is your question for Mark and I?
All right. So it's been a couple of months since Rift Rivaled, and we're right at the beginning of Worlds. Does anyone care about what happened at Rift Rivals? And after Worlds, will anyone care what happened at Rift Rivals? And with that answer in mind, next year, what would it take to get you to actually care about Rift Rivals?
All right. Sounds
take
like
this one
you're
step at a
assuming you
time.
don't care about Rift Rivals right now.
Correct.
And that's probably a fair assessment. Mark, my colleague here, I would ask you, did you care about Rift Rivals at all especially before North America was looking like it was going to win?
I cared about Rift Rivals before it started. I thought it was a fun event. I actually liked the idea of the first Rift Rivals more, when it was like everyone kind of plays against each other and almost like a crew battle kind of style versus like a group stage kind of thing. So I was actually a little disappointed with the change. I thought it went from like being more fun to more serious, and then we won the more serious version. That was cool. Even if EU stomped, I would have been like, you kind of had it coming after MSI.
Yes. So I think definitely, there were some questions about if people cared about Rift Rivals until North America. North America obviously cared a lot about it once we started to win. And then I think now nobody really cares about Rift Rivals other than we'll brag about it a little bit whenever NA inevitably plays EU. But until then, it doesn't really matter. So, and in terms of what would it take for next year, I think incorporated maybe, it felt too maybe one-off for me. So you either make it really goofy and really fun like the original format, or you change it so that it feels like it's more incorporated into the system a little bit more. But I think that's the answer for us, Mike Spam. Thank you so much for the question.
Real quick, just to build off of that, because I think this is the logical next step. Can Rift Rivals and All-Stars both exist in the same circuit?
I personally think that I like the idea of Rift Rivals just being more fun. I think it's kind of weird to ask teams in the middle of their season to stop what they're doing and go have fun. So it's a tough question. I think I would prefer to, put the pressure on the teams to go to an event than not. Though I do know that pro players are kind of overworked right now a little bit. So it's touchy, but I prefer to see more events than not.
Yeah. Very good. Thank you so much, Mike Spam,
thanks.
for the question. Mike Spam from Seattle, sending you back. All right. What do we got next? I know that we have Zodiac Sheep asked a question there. I don't know if you want to take it, but he is a sub, so he does get some sort of preferential treatment there.
Are we doing preferential treatment even on the first episode?
Well, we'll do it for these two guys.
Working hard for those dollars.
We'll do it for those two guys.
All right. I'll pull Zodiac Sheep in. I'll go in the waiting room real quick.
All right.
Zodiac Sheep, you got to unmute yourself so I can hear you.
All right, we're grabbing Zodiac Sheep. Again, if you're just tuning in, this is a call-in show where we take your questions straight into the show. You come on, you ask your question. Zodiac Sheep, where are you from?
Joining us.
Hello, I am from most recently New Mexico, and I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, glad to have you on the show, Zodiac Sheep. Zodiac Sheep, what is your question for Mark and I?
So it's a question more directed at Mark. I have noticed that over the course of this season, support items have been very strong, namely most recently Censor, but also Redemption for a very long time. Not only has the power level been quite high, I feel as though it took a long time for those items to get nerfed. So I just want to know how you feel about that, why that might be the case, and do you think it's good or bad for professional play?
There you go, Mark. That's all you.
All right. Yeah, so there's a couple parts here. Number one, So I think the reason Riot ends up having support items technically overtuned is because the support rule sucks ass to play. And no one really wants to play it in terms of casual players and stuff like that. Some people, there's some crazy people who like support for some reason, but for the most part, they kind of need extra incentives. And having strong items that make them feel impactful versus just being ward bots is really important. And so you end up with these items with very strong actives or passives so that they can feel like they're contributing more to the game. I think that's why you don't see them nerfed very quickly, is because Riot wants big, strong items for them to be able to use. And that's the big thing. So I don't feel like they're necessarily broken in the context that supports need them. I don't feel like supports are taking over the game. Like, you don't see multiple redemptions, multiple of these ardent sensors. That said, I do feel like it crowds out the pool, or like it very heavily shapes the meta of like what you're allowed to buy and what you're able to play as a champion.
All right, just quick follow-up. It seems like when support items are very strong, they get abused by, right now, jungle, but also occasionally top lane. Is that a problem, a fixable problem, etc.?
I mean, outside of Locket and Ivern.
And Gargoyle Stoneplate plus Locket.
Yeah, but Gargoyle Stoneplate isn't a support item, it's a tank item, technically.
Yeah, but I'm just saying there's existing synergy there that exists for top lane and jungle, but not for support as much.
Sure. And I mean, that's kind of how things are going to go. At the end of the day, there's still the gold problem for supports, where they just receive less gold than anyone in the game. And that's always probably going to be an issue. So there'll be more opportunities for top laners and junglers, if they're building these items, to synergize with other items and maybe find some more powerful combination. But I mean, like Knight's Vow, it's a support / tank item. Gargoyles don't play it the same way. Locket the same way. And outside of Ivern abusing Redemption, which is strictly a support item, I don't think the support items have too much of an issue.
All right. Well, thanks very much for asking my question, and I hope the rest of the show is just as good.
Thank you, Zodiac Sheep, for your call-in. Sending you back.
All
right. So, Mark, there's an interesting thing on our pilot episode, our premiere episode. Many people are subbing just to ask questions.
I knew this was going to happen, Travis. This is why I said you're really grubbing for the money right now.
Well, that was not the plan. I just they're
okay.
Existing
You don't
supporters. No. I figured maybe we'd do this in a future episode, but there were existing supporters. So it was hard to turn them down, and I don't know. But we do have Resist Impulse and Lotus, who are both just recently subbed. I know are asking questions.
Oh God, let's get this one out of the way.
As well as Sarguy 3665. If you are just tuning in, this is a call-in show. Taking your calls on Discord. Here's the Discord information right there on screen. As Mark goes and gets somebody else for the call.
Is Alex in here? We'll just get her out of the way. What is glitched Lotus?
It's just Lotus. Here, I'll grab her.
I
can't drag her in. You can only drag her in, but it's under Lotus.
You can drag her in.
It doesn't let me. I can drag her out of this channel. I can't drag her into it.
All right.
Hey.
Well.
Hello, Lotus.
Hey, what's up?
Where are you calling from?
Is my mic working?
Yeah, a little bit of an echo.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Let me turn down everything.
All right.
Yeah, your skin's looking really nice lately, Travis.
Thank you, Lotus. Where are you from? Where are you calling from?
I am from NorCal right now. I'm originally from LA. As
Okay.
you know, we were roommates.
I don't recall that at all.
Oh, that hurts a little bit.
Yeah. What is
So
your
I
question,
understand.
Lotus?
Oh yeah. What kind of face cream do you use? Because your skin.
It's,
All right.
it's
Nice
actually
lately.
all natural. Thank you so much,
Oh,
Lotus, for
really?
your time on the show.
All right, thank you guys. I
Yeah.
really appreciate it.
All right, so that was a great call-in from Lotus.
All right, guys. Let's try and keep it professional here. I know
Okay,
Travis and I are good-looking fellows, but we're here to talk about League of Legends.
Well, League of Legends, or anything more broad, but flirting with me on the show, a little
I guess
too much.
if someone wanted advice on how to pick up girls in League,
Yep.
that'd be tangentially related enough.
Funny story, actually, Mark. I was at CSULB a little bit late because I was at my alma mater, Long Beach State. Asked me many questions, including how do you get out of the friend zone? That was one of the questions I received during my show. And Avli was in the audience. She drove up to see it, and she said he doesn't know how. So it was a great time on the show.
Always
Looks like we got
appreciate
Resist
Avli.
Impulse in the waiting room if you want to
I'll go double check to make sure there's no
check
echoes.
his audio issues. Again, thank you everyone for tuning into our premiere show our pilot episode of Hotline League. Hopefully, eventually, we get a producer who can manage bringing people in. But for now, Mark is checking everything out. How's it going, Resist Impulse? Welcome to the show.
Dude! Long-time listener, first-time caller. I'm super excited.
Yeah, that's
listening
kind
for
of
the
impossible,
entire
but
history of the show, right?
Resist Impulse, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Maryland, from the East Coast. It's 1 a.m. over here, 1:30.
Yeah, very, very good. Thank you for staying up so late to listen to the show. Sounds like you've been listening to a lot of our episodes in the past. Resist Impulse, what is your question for Mark and I?
I got several. I want to just, speed shoot them. So, first, the softball first episode question. What's your biggest influence for creating a call-in show? Is it, Loveline with Dr. Drew and Adam Carolla, Howard Stern, H3H3 Podcast?
Honestly, I think I've just noticed that there have been some other streamers that have been doing kind of like IRL streams where they just chat with people on Discord, strangers. And so I think Mark and I, right around the same time, had the idea of what if we could use that kind of technique to create a call-in show? And it just seemed like a pretty easy enough thing for the two of us. We were both interested in doing it. League Weekly, there's not as much League of Legends to talk about right now before World starts, so it just seemed like a convenient time to try it. So yeah.
Heck yeah. And I'm loving the theme.
Yeah, thank you.
Now I got a more league-based question. I think Mark might be able to answer this. I'm not sure. I tried tweeting some people. But I've noticed in pro games that dropping a ward onto a Thresh Lantern has become meta. So my question is it possible to zoom in far with the scroll wheel to then click on the Thresh Lantern?
It's still difficult to do because it's more about the hitbox, and when you zoom in, the hitboxes don't necessarily become more proportioned. They're not better proportioned. She might be that your mouse was missing, so you might play more active. But if the ward is still active on top of the lane, you're more likely going to end up auto attacking the ward.
Has Riot discussed in public the size of those hitboxes?
I don't think there's anything that I know of, and I doubt they would change it because I think the hitbox is there, to make sure that people, when they're trying to clear wards, it's not like you're playing a bullet hell game. They want it to still be pretty easy.
Okay. And then the last question, kind of for the fans, maybe, is it better to be Mark's hair or Travis's beard? I'll take that question off the air.
Okay. I don't know if we're supposed to answer that at that point in time. Did he mute himself or did you mute him?
No, he muted himself.
Okay. I thought it was great if you were I don't like where this is going. You mute him.
I threw him out of there.
All right. Thank you, Resist Impulse, for the call from Maryland. I don't know how to answer that question. It sounds like we're going to have to, figure that out later. I can't tell if there's some roboting going on. Oh, there's just some lag, I guess. Okay.
Is that on my end or your end?
I think it was on my end, but people said it's working well now, so I guess.
All right. I have my next person. The problem is I can't find him in the list of people in the general chat, and I don't know how to drag somebody into the waiting room.
Yeah, I think they have to be in the general chat. So maybe
if you guys can join the voice channel.
Yeah. Maybe we can grab somebody else while we wait.
Sure, I'll grab somebody else while I'm Is there any other sub in here that you want to
No, that's okay. I think we can just grab people. I don't see any other subs, or there's none that I recognize immediately.
Alright, Rafters is in here.
There we go. We were waiting on Rafter to join. Hopefully the frames are not dropping anymore. I turned off my local record of the broadcast, so
here we go. This is basically what I was hoping to talk about. TSM fans.
Hello, Rafters. Yep. Welcome
What's going on, guys?
The show. Where are you about from, Rafters?
North Cal, Bay Area.
Bay Area. I'm headed up there tomorrow, actually.
Nice. I went to Worlds last year, so.
Are you an original Bay Life fan? Are you a Season 2 TSM fan?
No. I'm actually not too big on TSM. I just like to talk about them.
Okay, so what is your question?
I was hoping to get in contact with a real TSM fan.
Yeah, what is your question, nice. Sorry. Rafters?
So I was just kind of wanted to have a conversation about TSM in general, and specifically how, I guess, the organization is treated by people who don't like TSM, like unfavorably because of how the fan base is. A lot of the fans are like, at least on the Reddit, are pretty toxic. So it sort of like gives a negative impression of people on TSM, even though I think that there's good things that TSM can sort of like make the world see of NA.
Yeah. So what is the question specifically?
Oh, sorry. Okay. I guess why? What do you think the main reason for people being toxic towards TSM is, besides their fan base?
Well, I think TSM commands probably definitely the biggest share of the fan base. And if you told me that they were like 50% or above, I wouldn't be surprised either. Especially when you broaden out to casual fans. I think that the popular team in any kind of situation often commands like the most fandom, and so you obviously are going to get like kind of like counterculture movement of people that are like, no, fuck TSM, I don't like those guys. Like everybody always, all these TSM fans, but down with TSM, I want somebody like CLG, Cloud9, somebody else to win. And so I think that's why, oftentimes those people, and oftentimes I think, I can refer you to a 45-minute video that a colleague of mine did about TSM fans. But I think, when you have TSM fans that are so strongly and staunchly passionate about that team, you're obviously also going to create a situation where, people feel, they become as passionate about opposing that team and sort of what they stand for. So,
and to pile onto the idea of opposing them, they're also the best team in North America. So there's always people who just hate the best team. It's in every sport. People hate the Yankees, they hate the Patriots. Anything that they do that rubs you the wrong way, that would be overlooked for a worse team, is suddenly more annoying because they're so good. And then if you go back in history a little bit, they used to be very outspoken when like Reggie was a larger part of like the forward-facing brand. So he was someone who always had some controversy following him, and that created some enemies.
I mean, it's similar effect with G2. I think G2 is looked at similarly to TSM. I think I remember seeing, I think Skara and you, Mark, were talking about how, maybe, I don't know, about how G2 is viewed similarly in the world to TSM, and how we're both like, TSM and G2 are the Western teams that are both, about on an equal level when it comes to Worlds.
Oh, right, exactly. And then you throw in that like they tend to recently have dropped the ball in international competition. It's even easier for people to be like, oh, God, I hate them. They always do so well. Even their own fans start hating them. You know how that goes.
Yeah. I remember when TSM lost to RNG last year, and like it was just toxic in the arena. It was pretty funny, though.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of it was just there's just so much. I do feel like some people have been let down by TSM, and that's kind of what you're seeing is whenever they do lose and people feel like they're this hope. It's very easy for fans to turn on them. Again, I think you see that type of thing in traditional sports, but Mark is more the traditional sports guy than I, so he would have to.
I mean, yeah, it's the same thing. If your team keeps laying you down, you just start hating them, even though you're a fan of them.
Yeah, very good. Well, hey, thanks so much, Rafters, for joining the show.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys.
Hope things stay nice up in NorCal.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah. All right, see ya.
Thanks.
Alrighty, I'll check the next guy.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for calling in. If you're just joining us, this is the pilot episode of Mark and my show where we take your calls, Hotline League. Probably going to have more guests in the future. If you see the Discord stream link right now, or the Discord link on the stream, you can go ahead and join that Discord. You type your question into the general chat, and when you do, Mark has a chance to review it. He'll join you, make sure that your audio works out okay, and as long as it works, it's good. Joining us right now is One Suck. How's it going, One Suck? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah. It's from an old WoW buddy of mine, and so I just kind of took his name because I have no idea what happened to him, so it's just kind of stuck.
Very good. Well, where are you calling from, One Suck?
Alabama.
Alabama. All right. You got a little bit of that Alabama twang to your voice.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very good. Well, what's your question for us?
Okay, so I'm going to do two. Okay, so you guys were just kind of like searching for the TSM fans. I'm going to actually wait on that. Okay, so we never really got to hear much about kind of what happened with Yahoo, right? Like we kind of just know that it shut down. So my question is like, you guys know a lot about like ESPN and like how like basically like they lost like hundreds of their writers, right? They like had to let go 1,000 people. Like, you kind of heard about that?
Yeah, they let go. They did a pretty big layoff at the beginning,
Yeah.
or like towards the beginning of this year, or kind of like the end of the first quarter, where they laid off. ESPN laid off a lot of their bigger personalities and that kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. And so, like, and obviously, kind of like with Yahoo doing that, I was kind of wondering what, like, can you kind of give me like a general like explanation of like the market for content creators?
Yeah.
Like, how do they make money? Like, how do people like Emily and Kelsey get to the point where they have a sustainable living and can basically just watch VODs and push out content? Like, how do you get to that sustainability? And like, how is the market funded for content creators?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like, yeah, can you kind of give me a
Sure.
guide?
So it's a very broad conversation, and probably one that's a little bit longer than we can answer in the call here. But
Yeah,
there's a couple things.
That's more TSM question. But
Yeah. No, the first thing I would suggest is that you go watch the Travis talks that I did on Surrender at 20. I know it's funny to just be promoting my own content, but honestly, like that, I think does a pretty good job of kind of explain kind of what CPMs are and what the advertising model is for a lot of the stuff. I think talking about ESPN, it's a different situation. They're losing a bunch of their revenue because people aren't.
They're losing TV deals.
Yep,
too.
they've got all these TV deals that's going away. Yahoo, again, a similar situation where it was kind of a unique thing. Verizon acquired them. To answer your question more specifically about how esports content creators make money, there are a lot of different esports media sites and groups out there right now. It's very interesting. For a while there were only a couple, and now you got things like Slingshot and Action Esports and Gamers and Dot Esports and Score and ESPN, and I feel like every day there are more and more. Invin is doing stuff. Every day there are more and more of these media sites coming up. All these guys are hoping to make money through advertising or some other situation or whatever. And really these days, if you want to make a name for yourself as let's put it this way. All these media organizations, they don't have as big of a brand as a lot of the established influencers, right? So like somebody like, a lot of people don't know, who some of these new names are, but they knew who Kelsey Moser is or who Emily Rand is or who Mark Zimmerman is or whatever. So, working with these folks, they're obviously going to get paid for writing content for these folks because it does.
They have that brand.
Yep.
Yeah.
So for Emily and Kelsey, they were just able to get in early enough. They both were a part of the LOL Esports website and got promotion there. Kelsey worked for On Gamers, which was, the GameSpot esports spinoff site that I worked with. Thorin was able to promote them and their work, and they were able to catch fire on Reddit. So that kind of stuff just really built them up.
And to kind of hop on your point about like how they get their start to the point where like resource or like companies want to reach out to them. A large part of it is just like they worked hard and they kept putting content out there, and they would engage with the community. They'd go on Reddit and they would post an article and get people, like they would talk to people. They would have Twitters. Like, someone like Risen Lazarus has accumulated like a decent following just being a Reddit guy, right?
Yeah. Well,
so
I will say my next question, if y'all do make another show, because I actually did when the whole franchise, when y'all were kind of doing y'all's League Weekly, like, I don't know, I think it's weird that I kind of want, my next question will be next week, just so y'all know if y'all do this. I don't know if y'all are doing it weekly. Will be kind of like building brands, because I think the reason EULCS kind of sucks is on the orgs. They don't have any, like, no one gives a shit about their players. And I think that that's kind of problem with their orgs. And so, like, I don't know, like, is content creation kind of just, I know it sounds like they're not connected, but it just seems like if you don't have the name, no one's going to buy your crap.
Yeah. Definitely a separate conversation that we'll follow up with another time.
Yeah.
One sec.
Can I get my TSM question in about Worlds?
Sure.
You sure? I'm sure.
Yeah, okay. If you guys want to cut me off, it's cool.
No, go for it.
It's Travis's show, dude. Let's listen to Travis.
Okay. So I guess kind of the generic kind of Worlds question. Actually, I want to do the top 20 because that just came out today. Okay, so one person who I think will always be kind of criminally like underrated in a top 20 list was actually Jensen. Okay, and so my question is it possible to rate Jensen as a top 20 player at Worlds because C9 is gonna suck? Like, there's a good chance they don't make it out of their draw stage, right? But that doesn't like devalue Jensen. Would you ever like rate a player top 20 at Worlds, even though you know their team is going to suck ass?
Yeah.
Right?
One sec, I'm going to transfer you to the other channel as we wrap up this question. Thanks for calling in. Really
Okay, cool. See
ya. So, Mark, question about Jensen. You want to handle that?
Yeah, because I'm the biggest Jensen fanboy in the world, apparently.
Yeah.
I think you can be on a bad team and make it onto that list. It's very, very hard to shine while doing so because top 20 is very prestigious. There's 24 teams at Worlds this year, if you include the playing stage, I believe. I might have that number a little off, but there's a shitload, all right? And you need to stand out amongst people who are like the best in the world. And while I think there's a world where Jensen could make that list at some point, it's really hard to do it if you don't have any sort of legacy. And as much as I think Jensen's a great player, his legacy is very shallow. It's like he's made a couple finals, he's lost, he's gone to World a couple times. I mean, there's people all over the world with much more compelling resumes than him.
Yeah, very good. Hey, Skyfall3665 subbed earlier and I saw him in the chat asking underneath a different name if he could ask a question. You need to join the general voice chat so that we can see you in there. So we can pull you in because we can't pull anybody in until they're in that voice chat. You can mute it as soon as you get in there. Mark, if you want to go grab...
Yeah, I'm going to grab this guy.
Friend. For those tuning in, call-in show. We're trying it out, this pilot episode. Put in the Discord information up on the screen right now if you want to call in. That's the information. Join the regular chat and then put your question in general. That's how we'll do it. And now Panda Pornstar.
Heyo.
Hello,
Hey.
Panda Pornstar.
Hello.
Thanks for calling to the show. Where are you from, Panda Pornstar?
I'm from SoCal.
Very good.
Yeah. So my question is, why hasn't Riot Games released anything other than League of Legends? Because I've been around since Season 2, and I felt like there's been a lot of times there's been rumors or speculations on what they're going to make next, but we haven't really seen anything from that, so yeah.
Yep. Hey, great question. Thank you so much, Panda Pornstar. I'll go ahead and start off. I think part of it is, first off, in one sense, they have released another game. I think if you look at League of Legends and you compare what this game is now to what it has been before, like it is almost like they've released like 3 or 4 different versions of League of Legends. You could imagine if they were doing this game as a box game, they just have released a bunch of different versions of this. I think another thing is League of Legends reminds me a lot of World of Warcraft, and that like Blizzard basically shut down, from what it seems like, any development of other games and other titles for several years after World of Warcraft came out, because they had to scale their company so much because it was such a massive success, hire more people, hire customer support, develop the game, fix engineering problems with having so many people on. And so just literally the amount of resources and scaling up the company they've had to do, I think, has prevented them from being able to do that, from able to release something. Another thing to point out, a lot of people forget this, by the way, but there was a leak that came out after a hack a couple years ago that they had been working on a card game, and this I think before, it was either right around the time Hearthstone got released, and so there's in my mind maybe the card game wasn't as good as Hearthstone and they decided to pull it. I think after you've made such a mega hit like League of Legends, you're probably pretty terrified of what you're going to be able to do in the future. So I think that's sort of my take on why they haven't released anything, but I would expect to see something in the next couple of years for sure.
I would say, just throwing my 2 cents in here, I think there's a combination of things that Travis hit on, like the whole, they have made other things, other products. It's not just League of Legends. They made Mechs vs. Minions. They made some random Flash games. And like he was saying, they've put a lot of stuff into League. Now there's rotating game modes. There was just Star Guardian mode. So they have been constantly making stuff, but it does feel like there hasn't quite been the second game, right? Like there hasn't been Riot games quite yet. There's been Riot and other stuff with League of Legends. So I do think that it does feel like with the canceled card game that we heard leaked and the likelihood that they've made other games as well, it does feel like there has been some lack of movement on Riot's end. That is a little disappointing because I want to see what else they can make.
Mm-hmm. And also, one more question. Earlier, you said you wanted to talk to like an old school TSM fan. I've been around since like the Bay Life days, so What do you like want to ask?
How does it feel, dude? You get hated on everywhere.
Well, I joined season 2 and I didn't really know anything. So like obviously I just became a TSM fan because they were like the most popular. But over the years, I don't like labeling myself as a TSM fan because I don't really like their fans. I feel like when they lose, they hate their players too much. And when Dowers was on a team, he was my favorite player, so that always like bothered me.
So you have, since, even though you're still a fan of the team, you have shied away from the TSM label.
Yes, just because I think their fans, they're the most passionate, but they get a little out of hand sometimes.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
interesting to me that you're a TSM fan, but you're literally like, there's almost like an embarrassment for you in saying that. Do you own like Twitch or sorry, TSM merchandise or anything?
I met Dyrus when he did a fan meetup in like Chino Hills one time and had him sign my 3DS. That's about it.
Okay.
But what do you call it? Because I really do like TSM's players, and I think that's what's like most important. Like all their players are good, so how can I say I don't like the team just because they're fans? You know?
Right.
Right, yeah. But I mean, like I'm from Boston, so I'm a fan of the Patriots. I'm a fan of like a lot of teams that people hate, and I don't shy away from it. So like, what do you think it is about TSM fans in particular? Because like the same thing kind of happens. I don't know if you know about the Patriots, but like we'll lose a regular season game, and the fans will freak out. They'll be like, "Oh, this guy's washed up. This stuff sucks." Yada yada yada. And not every fan, but a somewhat vocal portion do. And then at the end of the year, you know, we're in the playoffs, we're making a deep run. And why do you think it is for TSM fans in particular that they seem so much more adamant? Do you think it's just like the nature of the internet maybe playing into it, that like people just spew random shit?
I think it is. It's also like really easy to just like say like whatever you want on the internet and like to not act reasonable and not to have like civil discussion. Because like I like to label myself as a Cloud9 fan, and I don't particularly like Jensen, but he does have better stats. And like when someone says like Jensen can't even be compared to Bjergsen, it's just ridiculous because like you should only worry about the stats, not who's doing it. So I'm not. Yeah, that's about it.
All right, so we have one TSM fan who is afraid to be shamed. I want to know if there's anyone in here who is a TSM fan who is on the more obnoxious end of the spectrum, because Panda Pornstar, despite the name, seems
are they gonna call themselves out as the obnoxious TSM fan?
I mean, they might.
I'm an obnoxious TSM fan.
I mean, like, I'm kind of obnoxious as a person. I think I can admit that.
To be fair, I used to be an obnoxious CSM fan, so that's kind of.
There we go. Reformed Panda Pornstar. Thank you so much, Panda Pornstar, for calling into the show and enjoying that beautiful Southern California night we got going on.
Sorry, I kicked him out. I didn't know.
That's okay. All right, so
I'm gonna figure out the situation in the waiting room. Give me 1 second.
Yeah. I think one after the other, I think works fine. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning into the show. This is the pilot episode here. And we got Mark, Patriots fan. He's down there calling somebody else in. If you want to join the show or ask questions, you can join the Discord. It's on your screen. Ask your question in the general chat. Hopefully it'll get pulled in. Hello, we got Skyfire24 here.
Hi.
Where are you from, Skyfire?
I am from Bogota, Colombia.
Whoa. What? Okay. What time?
Hello.
What's the time there?
It's almost 1 a.m.
1 a.m. Okay, so still North American time. I need to look at a map. I figure this out. But thanks for calling it. First international caller, Skyfire.
Yes.
What is your question for us?
All right. So this comes from the Reddit thread that I saw today. So, like with franchising and then like expanding to 12 teams, like how bad are the chances of like existing orgs that have like no let's just say no real fandom to lose their spots?
I think the chances are very high, because the only reason one of the only reasons I can expect Riot keeping a team in is if you have so many fans that it would be a big blow to the league, or if you have to hope that the applications of people coming in are not that great, or that the people are playing are not that great, which I don't think is a very high chance, because I think there are a lot of probably pretty big names applying right now. So You know, if you are a big name, or sorry, if you don't have any fans, why does Riot want to keep you in the league? You know.
Yeah, pretty much.
Are you a concerned fan, Skyfire?
You an Echo Fox, Phoenix One?
No, pretty much. Like, I like C9. Like C9 and IMT are like what I follow mostly.
Yeah. Well, I think those guys are probably fine.
Yeah, I think any of the large endemics. I mean, I saw a pretty interesting graph linked under that Reddit thread that was in Travis's article about viewership of teams in spring 2017. Did you see that, Travis?
I did, yeah. I think it was in my Reddit thread for the article.
It's literally what I just said.
Yeah. Well, I'm producing a show.
Yeah, no.
So sometimes I'm paying attention to something else, and I catch the second half of what you're saying.
I know.
And there's a Reddit comment about how I don't ever pay attention.
Yeah, that's why I did it.
Drives me crazy.
I'm gonna move Skyfire out as I finish this one.
Yep. Thank you so much, Skyfire, for first international caller.
Thank you, guys.
Yep, thank you. Yeah, no, I think I did see that. In fact, I'm curious if it's skewed because FlyQuest and Phoenix One had much higher viewership than I expected, and I suspect that's because it includes spring playoffs viewership, which would have skewed their average viewership higher than I would have expected. Right. Though, of course, FlyQuest does have a lot of fans from those C9 fans that transferred over with High and Lemon
and they were winning then too. Like, you know, during the first half of the split, they were very, very hot. Phoenix One also not a little surprising because they were winning, but still, I wouldn't have thought that they would have had that many. Yeah. Envy is another kind of surprise. Like, they had a lot more viewers than I would have thought. I was surprised Dig was last, you know, with Someday. And, like, I know they weren't great. They barely made it into playoffs, but still.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard. I think they just haven't. It's hard to figure out what the storyline is there for Dignitas this year.
Yeah. Why to watch them.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll get the other guy in here.
Very good. I want to thank all of our subs for subbing. I saw earlier Kulas33 subbed. We have a couple others. Glitch Lotus sub earlier. Resist Impulse. Skyfall Rafters. Hello, Skyfall.
Hey, what's up?
Not much. Where are you calling from, Skyfall?
Nashville, Tennessee.
Nashville, Tennessee. I need to get to Nashville. A lot of people have said Nashville is an exciting city.
They would be wrong.
Oh, really? I mean, I've heard it's very fun.
Yeah. Downtown is basically bars, but you know, after you're drunk, there's not much to do.
Hey, and you know what? After you're drunk, do you need much to do?
That's true.
Master of None had an episode of Nashville that made me very interested.
I've been meaning to start that on Netflix. Yeah. It's been in my queue forever.
Very good. Well, Skyfall, what is your question for me and Mark?
Yeah, so both the ESPN Power Rankings and the Top 20 LoL Esports that came out today, both of them put BDD ahead of Bjergsen, which I found a bit interesting because both of them stress, like, you know, international experience and, like, you know, performing on big stages and stuff. And, like, I don't know, it just seemed weird to me that a rookie would get ranked above, like, such a veteran like Bjergsen. Can you guys shed some light on that?
Great. Before we answer this, are you one of those obnoxious TSM fans that Mark was looking for earlier?
I pulled another one into the waiting room. So
I'm a TSM fan, but I like to think I'm not obnoxious. I'm probably wrong, though.
Okay. Very, very good. Well, I like that there's you know, coming up BRTT greater than double F now that we got BDD. Mark, do you have an answer for this?
Yeah, I mean, it is hard to really sway me on that one as well. I will say that he had a monster performance in Korea during the regular season. If you just watch the finals, I know it wasn't like as impressive as you might have thought, but he did just also win the LCK, which is arguably harder to win than Worlds. So I think he deserves a lot of props. Just even though he's a rookie, he burst on the scene and was an absolute monster. It's also, if I understand, is it top 20 players or top 20 players to watch?
I believe it's top 20 players. The way Jat phrased it on the dive was the 20 players we think will do best at Worlds. But then Deficio said something different. So yeah.
Well, so they're all hedging their bets.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too is how well they're going to perform. I mean, I would expect BDD to perform better than Bjergsen. He's on a better team. They're going to go further most likely. So in that sense, the idea that BDD will perform better than Bjergsen is actually one that I can buy. Because I think the place where I struggle a little bit is like he's strictly better than Bjergsen, and even then it's close, and I would be willing to, like, you know, hear an argument about it and be swayed. But I think if you're just saying who's going to do better, who's more interesting to watch, I would give both those to BDD.
Not to mention, you don't want to end up in a world where you know, even if you are couching a lot of the decisions you're making for something like this based on historical performance and international performance, you don't want to end up in a world where a really standout rookie just can't make the list because they don't have enough of that stuff. So I don't know. It's definitely an interesting conversation. And what's cool is we're going to see how this all plays out soon enough. So, hey, thank you so much, Skyfall, for the question.
Yeah, cheers.
Enjoy Nashville. Jealous of your barbecue, though maybe not as great of a place as I've been led to believe.
I'm a vegetarian, so.
Okay. Well, okay.
Whoa.
Now we
understand. Number one right there.
Yeah, okay. Thanks,
Fair
man.
enough.
Thank you so much for the call.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right. And thank you, by the way, to my PS, this Twitch staff member who just threw some cheers our way. It's nice to have that support on our first show. And it sounds like, Mark, you're going to be setting us up with a TSM fan here in a second.
I believe potentially. I'll see how obnoxious he is. There's a sweet spot because you don't want him too obnoxious that they ruin the vibe of the show, and you don't want him not obnoxious enough. So I'll get a vibe on him.
Very good. And by the way, if you're just tuning in and you haven't been looking at Twitch for the past couple of weeks and seeing every streamer promote this, Twitch subs half off right now. Isn't that amazing? Half off. You can sub this channel. And you can actually, you know, we'll receive more support than you spend because that's how Twitch subs work whenever they're half off. We actually get the full normal cut. So we've got Mark coming in with just a TSM fan in a moment. Excited to see how obnoxious this person is. Hello. Speaking of how obnoxious. Okay, so Ichira Kumun, how do you pronounce your name?
I hear Ichirakuman a lot, but most of the time it's Ichirakuman.
Okay,
just some bullshit I made.
Ichirakuman's
good. And I'm sure you're calling from the most like American city ever with a name like that, right?
Yeah, I'm calling from Portland, Oregon.
Are you also white?
Yeah.
I'm half white, half Japanese.
All right, there we go. There we go. Not that race plays a role in the questions.
I was just testing the weebness.
Yeah. Very good. Well, hey, do you have a question for us, or are we here to chat with you about your TSM fans?
A little bit ago, you guys were talking about like people who were more like reserved TSM fans, and I'm more of like an outspoken supporter of TSM, not to the point where I'm like posting shit on Reddit like, oh, TSM's gonna win Worlds, this is your year, and that shit. But yeah.
So I'm gonna go through a scale here. We found like the embarrassed to be TSM fan guy who's fine to say he's a TSM fan, and hopefully the next one I find is the Reddit shit poster TSM, and hopefully we can find one of those here soon.
So
I'm like past like the just fine TSM fan.
Okay, so why would you describe yourself as beyond the just fine TSM fan?
Because I feel like the people who called him before were like really reserved by it.
Yeah.
Because like I mean, for example, like the team icons for Worlds that just came out, like you buy them and you get to flash the emote, you get like that little tag that goes with your name, right?
Yep.
And what I fucking love doing is when I load into a game and then I just get in all chat, I see a TSM fan, lol, TSM sucks, and then I just drop a re in the chat and shit like that. And if I'm winning, I'll just spam my emote because I want to support my team. And while I don't think that they're gonna get win Worlds or anything, I just do think that it's important you just stick to who you're supporting. And if you're bitching out, then you're not a real fan.
Yeah.
So you are a little bit more on the obnoxious end because you're willing to play the game when people say, "Oh, TSM fans are so annoying." You're willing to fire back a little bit.
Yeah. Like I like to troll them back.
Yeah. Do you think that trolling them back is the best way to support your team? Because you did list that as a way to support your team. So do you feel like being toxic in game with TSM emotes is a good way to do that?
I just think it's funny. Maybe not for supporting your team. Maybe it puts out like a bad image, but I just think it's funny.
All right, so tell us, what is the most toxic, or maybe like the most extreme TSM fandom thing that you've done so far?
That's probably the extent of it. It's more like owning up to being like obnoxious like in the game. It's not as much like me like that's like how I actually am. I'm just trying to sell like whole stereotype of being obnoxious for like the point of it.
Okay, so you have embraced. It's not enough like the other guy that we talked to. TSM fans
ran away
make
from
him
it.
like nervous to admit to be a TSM fan. TSM fans actually have made you want to be more obnoxious and become like that stereotype.
The cult mentality.
Yeah.
No. It's the people on the other side who are like hating on you, like, oh, TSM fans, they're so annoying. I'm just more trying to embrace the annoying and just trying to annoy them like that.
Yeah.
So, in one sense, you're kind of perpetuating it, but you're still not quite the most obnoxious TSM fan out there.
Yeah,
like if no one harasses you, you're probably pretty chill about it.
Yeah, exactly. And like just in my mind, like the criteria for like a really obnoxious TSM fan is like if I go onto the like TSM subreddit or like post-match discussions on Reddit and I see just like, wow, Doublelift is the best fucking player I've ever seen in my goddamn life, or like TSM is winning worlds for sure. Nobody can go toe to toe with them. That's to me is like the epitome of like the most obnoxious TSM.
Right. And I wouldn't mind getting a call with one of them. If anyone has their Reddit history, they can link me so I can verify you are, in fact. I don't want someone lying, telling me they're not a TSM shit poster.
Well, there's somebody in the chat right now spamming TSM, so maybe that's part of
it. Yeah, I'll grab that person and see.
Very good.
If I can get some information out of them as well.
Ichikuramon, that's a terrible way to pronounce it, but I want to thank you so much. By the way, last question, Portlandia. I've never been to Portland, but I like Portlandia. How much representative is that show of Portland?
Oh God, it's the most accurate thing I've ever seen in my life.
Okay, that's great. Can't wait to go check out that city. Thank you so much for the call. Good.
Yeah, later, dude.
Yeah, very good. All right. So,
how old do you think he was?
20.
Because I'm thinking maybe we do like a. Not quite an ASL thing, but an AL.
I don't want to ask people's age because I'm afraid of what if there's probably some law that we're not allowed to broadcast somebody who's like 14, and the moment somebody comes on and says they're 14, we're screwed.
I was just wondering because like the whole average TSM thing, but yeah, maybe.
Oh yeah. It'd be interesting to survey people and see what they're.
Because the older guy, or at least he sounded older, TSM fan, did not want a part of it. This guy's willing to ham it up. And then I wonder if like we're just working backwards where the most obnoxious comes on here and he's like, hey, I love TSM.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we'll see.
Very good. So, getting some more questions coming in here in just a moment. Just heard from Ichikuramon from Portlandia, or Portland. All right, and now we got Villain. Hello, Villain.
Hello.
Is it Villain or Villain?
Villain, I'm pretty sure.
Wait, this is your name? You don't know?
Are you on someone else's computer?
No, what the?
Are we subject to identity fraud right now?
Yeah. Villain, where are you from?
I had a question about Mark's former job.
Okay, but Villain,
yeah,
where are you calling from?
Oh, from the U.S. East Coast.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah,
we'll keep it broad in general.
All right.
Mark's former job.
Somewhere near New York. Yeah, I had a question about his former job. It was like, I read that he was an analyst, and like I just wanted to know what he specifically did during his time with Team Liquid, and some more stuff after I listen, I guess.
Yeah. What did he do with Team Liquid to get them? How was he able to keep them afloat? And because obviously since he left, it's been
how did I almost get us to Worlds twice? Is the question.
And did you sabotage it? Yeah.
No. So my responsibilities changed as I spent more time there. So like when I started, I was brought on with one other guy to be like the staff for the team, and he was supposed to be the coach, and I was supposed to be the analyst. That guy was not very good at his job. He got fired within like a month or two, and I ended up being the only staff member for the next 9 months or whatever of the team.
Mm-hmm.
And during that time, I was not like as much of a leader. I was more of, and I say leader with like kind of air quotes around it because I wasn't like giving pep talks or whatever, but I was later on making a lot more of the plans for stuff. Whereas during when I started out, I was mostly, I would watch VODs. I'd make sure everything was organized. I'd make sure that we could rewatch the VODs. I would lead the VOD review in the sense where I'd go to like where I thought the important things were, but I would let the players do a lot more of the talking. I would watch other regions. I'd present them with ideas. I would handle a lot of like random logistical stuff, like trying to make sure things were patched, waking people up, getting them food if they needed it. Really kind of all over the place. And that was season 4 with Curse. As we moved into season 5, we hired Peter to help out as well. And Peter was not much of a person for organization. So it would usually be me coming with the plans, like how do we want to structure practice? How do we want to approach this week? What stuff do we want to work on? That kind of stuff. I would help out with VOD review. We would both break that one down. He'd be the guy on stage, so he'd be handling a little bit more of the pick ban. And I was a lot of leading the discussion of things as well as trying to settle issues, because I was usually the one who had to like work out problems between people. So if you watch old Rebirth episodes, you could usually find me in the background leading the team discussions. The very first Rebirth, I was the one who kind of like was partially in charge for benching Piglet and stuff like that.
I see. That was pretty cool. I think on the more, this might be a bit abstract, but when you said you approached VOD reviews with your players, can you go more in depth with that? Like, is there like specific things you've like how you approached it, basically? Sauce. Yeah, come on, I'm trying to improve.
I mean, what is VOD review? Like, first off, I feel like it's safe for you to disclose this. You're not working with any teams. It's been.
I'm trying to keep all my. I'm a hoarder. I'm greedy. All right, no one gets what what I say.
Yeah.
Is there's two different types of VOD review. There's like you're watching another team play and you're watching your team play. Mm-hmm. And when you're watching another team play, usually you would basically just watch the game with your team, talk about things that's going on. If people are playing lanes right, should this be going this way? What's their reasoning for going here? Or was this path the best path the jungler could have taken? Stuff like that. You're just watching the game and really just talking it out. And sometimes you might rewatch a couple situations. If you're not rewatching a whole VOD, sometimes you send a player like a minute clip and you're like, yo, look at how they set up Baron here. Look at how this like position the Alistair got. Look how he got there. Things like that you would talk about. And then for like post game, I guess would be the better term for it. After a scrim, it was usually about just trying to be really efficient. So you would, and some people have different approaches to this. Some people take forever between games. Like Loco was a guy who broke down like every little thing. I usually would go in there with 3 things that I wanted to talk about, and I'd be very structured about it, where we were never allowed to talk about pick ban first, because my reasoning was I don't want people saying that there's an issue with the draft when we need to look at the play first. And maybe there is an issue with the draft and we can get to that later, but first let's look at what went right or wrong in terms of play, because you're going to lose some drafts and you need to learn how to win with a losing draft. So I never want to talk about draft first. I would talk about the 3 things I thought were the most critical for why we won or lost, and things we can do better. Players obviously have things that they want to talk about, so then we would often get into what they want to talk about. If it was individual stuff, we might break down and say, you guys can go to the bathroom, get your drinks, I'll handle the one-on-one here, stuff like that.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Villain, for the call.
Yeah,
enjoy
I'm also a
the
TSM
Eastern
fan,
Seaboard.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, any part of the Eastern Seaboard.
Yep. Well, Mark, while you go and chat with the next person, I think I'm going to take a break for a little bit of an ad, similar to what you're used to seeing from me on League Weekly. So just come back.
Great.
Yeah. All right, everyone. It's a bit of a break. Guess what? If you brawlettes are here, MeUndies.com/Travis Gafford. I really need to figure out a better font for this, but if you go to this site, MeUndies.com/Travis Gafford, you can get amazing deals, 20% off MeUndies. This stuff is so comfortable. It's so fantastic. Pro players, people are using it. They've been supporting the esports space for a while. It's fantastic stuff. They got all sorts of different things. MeUndies.com/Travis Gafford, 20% off on your order. It's great. It's great. So be sure to check them out. There's a link that I'll put in the Twitch chat. And by the way, if you're watching the VOD, hopefully there is a VOD. There'll be that travisgafford.com/support link below, and you'll be able to click in from there as well. So.
Yeah, he wasn't quite the shit poster I was looking for.
Okay.
He was someone who said he was willing to turn on TSM if they started doing bad. He'd get angry, but he wasn't quite online, which I think is where I think a lot of the negative stigma comes from.
Yeah.
So we're still on the hunt for the TSM fan. I'll start looking for another person.
Okay, very good. Joseph, I think, is a sub. I saw him earlier in Twitch chat say something. He's the guy at the very end. Because he's got a little.
He's Korean.
Yeah, I don't know. Is that Korean language? I can't tell.
Pretty sure that's Korean. I'll go talk to him real quick.
Very good. In the meantime, I want to give a shout out to a bunch of the people who've been supporting the show. Resist Impulse, who asked a question earlier, was on the show. He sent 1,000 bits. Yonstar, Yoni, Subbed Metalife Metadie, who I believe is Joseph. He subbed. Thank you, Metalife Metadie. Atomic Wing Bang subbed. Thank you so much for the sub. Avol9 subbed. Hey, it's Joseph, who's a sub. Joseph, where are you calling from?
I was born in the United States, but I'm actually in Seoul, Korea right now.
Oh, fantastic. I am very jealous of you. If I was to live outside of the U.S. somewhere for a year or so, I'd probably pick Seoul. I really love it.
Are you Cowsep?
No, sadly, no. I love Cowsep streams, though.
What are you doing in Korea?
I'm teaching English at private schools at the moment.
Nice. Are you doing this like shortly after graduating college?
Yes, I am, and I'm actually going to school here in about a year, just because it's cheaper here.
Nice. Yeah, I was whenever I was graduating college and I was starting to get into esports and stuff, my backup plan, if I couldn't find a job, was to go to Korea and teach English. So you're living the other life I could have had.
Do you speak any Korean, Travis?
No, but you don't need to. You don't need to speak Korean to teach English
really
over there. They bring people over all the time that don't speak Korean.
Joseph, how proficient are you in Korean?
I'm not very fluent. I'm still learning how to speak, but I can read and write fine. I can read and write really fine, which I've actually been told that's the opposite how a lot of people learn.
Yeah.
I can believe that.
All
right, so
Joseph, what is your question?
Okay, how far do you think Samsung Galaxy actually can make it in Worlds, and why isn't Roller in the top 20?
Okay. First off, is Samsung Galaxy your favorite team?
Yes, by far. I feel like they have a really good marketing right now, like with their players, and they also have proven over and over again that their like late game shot calling is probably the best in the region.
Yeah, very good. Well, Mark, what do you think their chances are?
So I think their chances are pretty good to make semis. I think where they run into some issues are the fact that they are in the difficult group, and if they underperform, they can get the second seed very easily, and then you have a 50-50 chance most likely of getting a Korean in the quarters, assuming that, Longju and SKT get the first seed. So there's a pretty likely world where they do end up getting knocked out in quarters. But, depending on how the draws go and if they actually get first in their seed, they're pretty likely to get semis at least.
All right. And now, why isn't Ruler in the top 20?
Yeah, definitely this year. Like, people have actually been going crazy in Korea how amazing Ruler is this year. And
I think it's tough. I think there's a lot of good AD carries, and I think obviously he gets pushed out by Bang and Prey. I think it'd be hard to try and put him over them. And then there's other good AD carries from other regions. So you have
like the North American AD carry.
But I mean, Reckless didn't even get put in the top 20, and I was surprised.
Yeah. So Sven, Double Lift, Uzi. There's a lot of people that you would put in that as well, and then suddenly you have a very crowded AD carry pool, and it might be the kind of thing where he might have been the victim of a little bit of focus on, positions. Like, can I really put, like, as someone's making their list, they're like, all right, I have all these people in there. Can I really put Reckless in there? Can I really put Ruler in there? I think that's potentially why he didn't make it.
Do you think Core JJ is good enough to make the top 20? Because he has like a flawless KDA compared to most supports, and has been playing like out of his mind this year and at Worlds last year.
I think you can make a case for most Korean players. I think
that's how good that region is.
I mean, if I'm being honest, I think you could make the case for all 15 Korean players for the most part.
And then you put their subs in too.
Yeah, right. Man.
So we've got two extra spots now.
Yeah. So I think at some point you just start pruning off a couple of the less exciting Koreans in a sense. Maybe not even necessarily 100% based on their skill level, but all right, well, it's not Faker and it's not BDD. These guys are not they don't have huge history. They don't quite have the wow factor of some of the other people you're putting on this list that you're trying to say you're really hyping up. So I can see how you end up leaving off people like Ruler and Core JJ.
Yeah.
One last quick question. Did you see the Ambition interview that was posted on Reddit? I was going to ask, do you think they're going to bring in Haru anytime during Worlds?
I did not see it. I saw it on there. He talked about his wedding or whatever was one of the things they said he talked about, and I was like, I don't really care about this. So I did not end up reading it.
Oh, they talked about how Haru is trying his best, but do you think he's ever going to be placed in Worlds at all?
I'm not sure. I would have to I guess it would be really performance dependent. Like,
because they just work better with Ambition, because their late game shot calling is literally like 10 times better.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, if you start losing, you're gonna look for something to change. Like, let's say the first round robin for them doesn't go well, they finish 1-2 or something. You know, you got to change something up. You know, you only have one sub at Worlds, so maybe they end up switching them around.
Yeah.
But it was nice talking to you. I'm sorry I asked too many questions, but
No,
I
it's
really
all good, Joseph. Thank you so much. Enjoy South Korea. I wish I was there.
I really just want to know people's opinions on Samsung, because I feel like the same thing this year is going to happen what happened last year when they don't get talked about and they're going to make finals.
Yeah.
I feel like it's going to happen again.
We'll have to find out.
Unless Longzhu pop off.
Thank you so much, Joseph.
Yep. Have a good night.
So, Mark, I'm thinking maybe we take a couple more serious questions and then maybe we round out the show, because we're now going in. I think we've been broadcasting for over an hour now of the actual show.
Yeah, I mean,
and we're at 11:30. So maybe 2 more serious questions, and then people can start asking maybe some more fun ones.
Yeah, I'm down to bring the trolls on for the last couple 15 minutes or something. All right, let me hop in there.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Joseph, for the question. I believe there were some more subs I have to give shout-outs to during the break. Avol9, thank you for the sub. Duganar, thank you for the sub. And Ichiryu, thank you for the sub. Subs right now 50% off. It's a deal. It's a deal. Yonstar wants to join in, but he's not in the chat. You can't pull him in.
Who's this?
Yoni wants to join, but he's not in the voice chat, so there's no way to pull him in. But Smash, LOL is here. Smash, how's it going?
I'm good, and yourself?
Very, very good. Great to be talking to you. Where are you calling in from?
Toronto, Canada.
Toronto, Canada. Our first Canadian. I like Toronto. It is not as good as Vancouver.
Toronto and LCS finals were the best, though, compared to Vancouver, in my opinion.
Okay.
I would agree 100%, dude. Though I think there were some other factors at play.
Yeah, like summer versus spring, that type of thing.
Well, and also Vancouver's venue being in East Bumfuck.
Yeah.
I was confused because when I was looking at the Vancouver venue, it wasn't like the main arena that they usually have for their hockey. It was some weird off the way venue.
Yeah. Well, sometimes it's hard to get the venues, and Riot never gets to plan out as early as they wish they could, but I don't know. I just love Vancouver a lot as a city.
Or did you actually like Vancouver because the city's really nice?
City is really nice. Really nice. Did a great photo shoot there too. Really appreciate it. Smash, what is your question for the chat?
Okay, so I got 2 questions, and my first question is about Dignitas. So after their whole regional final mess up, we saw a bunch of players start to leave to Korea. I saw on Twitter, but I'm not sure. But Adrian hinted at going back to university. We've seen Someday talk about him going back to Korea, and it's kind of foreboding that he's not coming back to Dignitas. What do you think's the future of that roster? Do you think they're gonna have to rebuild again?
Well, step 1 is getting back into the LCS.
Right. Yeah.
So I think Dig has a decent chance with the 76ers behind them, but do I think that they're not guaranteed like a TSM, Cloud9, CLG, etc. So I wonder if Dig is even trying to re-sign these guys, because it might all be moot if they don't make it in. Secondly, I think if Dig seem to have kind of a weird... they're just they're not... players go to TSM, and they stay on TSM until they are replaced by the organization. Dignitas is one of those organizations, I feel like, where every year you're going to see a whole lot of turmoil and change and turnover. Because they just can't command Bjergsen doesn't want to leave TSM. He's just not going to. And they're going to keep getting the results. So he'll just stay there until something crazy happens.
And even CLG and C9 to a point.
Yeah. Yep. Same with C9. CLG's been able to keep a pretty stable roster for the most part. I mean, every now and then you see stuff, but I just don't think that that's the case with Dig. So I wouldn't, first off, who knows if we're going to see Dig. If we do again next year, I feel like, maybe you see 2 of the same players, but I wouldn't be surprised to see a huge turnover.
The other thing I'll say is I do think they probably should change something, even if let's say had the option to re-up on the whole team. They didn't quite have a full split with this roster, which I think if they just weren't quite good enough, I would be fine being like, we'll give them another chance. They showed some good stuff toward the end of the split, but it's the way they ended their split where things kind of fell apart. I probably wouldn't, and without knowing everything behind the scenes, just like when a team falls apart, it feels very like pointless to try and put it back together again, in the sense where it's like, hey guys, we're all gonna play again and we're gonna believe in each other and we'll all be peachy. It didn't feel like that's how that team ended, and so some things need to change.
Yeah.
Okay.
You had a quick. Is it a quick second question? Because we are running low on time, Smash.
I just wanted to know, are you guys have any worries about the Overwatch League right now? I was thinking that they were going too fast, and in my opinion, I thought it would have been better for them to have more of a tournament circuit for like an extra year for them to flesh out all the problems and fix it. Do you guys think there was a need for Blizzard to start the league so fast?
Mark, you know how I'm going to answer this question, so you go first.
I think I'm in the same boat, so only one of us needs to answer, and I'm sure you're more passionate about it than I am.
All right. This Overwatch League thing, it's just way too much too soon. I really appreciate, it was funny when LCS occurred, there were, people won't remember this now, but there were like there's a ton of conversation in the esports industry and among the fans that Riot was trying to push way too fast, way too hard, and that they were not doing things organically, and I very much disagreed with that. So I say that as a caveat, because now I'm going to say all the same things that people said about the LCS, about Overwatch League, but I just don't think that, whenever Riot made what was a far smaller bet by creating the LCS, they had a way bigger proof of concept than Blizzard does with the Overwatch League. And if you want to hear me super rant about all this stuff, there's a video I did with Thorin and a couple of the guys from the Overwatch scene that's up over on his channel it was an esports salon. But it's a whole lot of conversation about, I think, some of the problems that I see with the way they are structuring this thing, with how much value they're placing on it, the damage that a inflated Overwatch League could do to esports as a whole, etc. So all that, I hope it succeeds, and I hope that I am terribly wrong. There's only every incentive for me to want this thing to succeed, and of course people come out and say I'm a hater or something like that. It's not the case. I am just worried that it won't, and I do think that it could be damaging if it doesn't. So hopefully that answers your question, Smash. Mark seems to agree with that. But thanks so much for calling in, Smash.
Have a good night.
Yeah, have a good one.
See you.
You want to bring Yoni in? Yeah, he's choking out. Yoni, for those of you that don't know, used to work at Quest when they were at Quest Nutrition, when they were sponsoring the esports space. Worked at Team Liquid until recently, and now has taken on a new role at another company. So we'll be bringing him on the show in just a moment. Again, subs are 50% off right now. You can sub to the stream, half off. What a deal. And Yoni's joining us right now. How's it going, Yoni?
Hey, guys. First off, just want to say, big fan of the two of you. Have been for a long time. And really appreciate all that you guys do for the league scene. We'll leave you both with a little bit of a softball. What is the thing that both of you separately are most proud of that you guys have done in the esports space? I'm very curious.
Well, first off, Yoni, you didn't answer the question that everybody gets asked, which is where are you calling from?
Oh, I'm calling from probably within 2 miles of the two of you here in beautiful Los Angeles, California.
Very good. Yoni, are you able to speak to what role, because, this is, I think, the first esports industry individual we've had on, calling to the show so far. Can you speak to what your role is in the industry as you're asking this question?
Sure. I got my start working for Quest Nutrition, doing all of their marketing and branding within esports and gaming. Continued on to work with Team Liquid in a branding, marketing, account management, sales role. And now I work for Catalyst Sports and Media, which is an advisory firm within the esports space.
Yeah. Most recently, were you responsible for the NV fundraising that just got announced?
I was not personally, no.
All right.
But,
let's just answer the question. Thing that we're most excited for, or most proud of, that we've accomplished. Mark, was it getting Team Liquid as successful as they've ever been?
I mean, that's probably up there. I think I think season 4 would have been what I was most proud of because it didn't feel like we fell apart. It felt like we came up short. It just felt like LMQ was probably the better team, and we put up a really good fight. We started choking a little bit when we had the leads, and we lost the game. But it never felt like there was that kind of huge friction and falling apart that happened in season 5. We were super close. All of us put in like insane hours. It was my first year in esports, so it was a pretty like it was really a huge fucking grind, but it was still had a little bit of magic to it even despite that. So I think that'll always be one of the things I'm most proud of. Taking a team that like was facing relegations in summer of 2013 and getting to like this close to Worlds and birthing a meme in the process.
Yeah. LP Finks 327 in the Twitch chat says Travis's answer is going to be unhomelessing double lift. That is not a bad one. That is not my answer, but yes, that was a pretty big contribution to the scene, or so some people would say. I kind of have two answers on a individual level. My content, from a content perspective, the thing I'm most proud of creating was Faith, which is a documentary about doublelift that I created with Damien Estrada, who all three of us know very well. It's a 3-part series that I think is maybe the best content I've ever made, and I'm sure carried by Damien's excellent production skills. On a sort of broader level, I'm really proud of what happened with Yahoo Esports. Basically, got to the helm of that, and then within about a year became just a dominant media group within the esports space and a big brand. And so many people had said, Yahoo, like that's like my grandma's email. They've not been relevant forever. Yahoo in 2K17, lol, but by the end of it, people who were very, very sad about us going away, and they, even when we were running the Smash tournament, people were asking if they could buy Yahoo Esports jerseys. It was such a big turnaround from, where we were when we started. So thank you so much, though, for the question, Yoni. I really appreciate it.
Congrats, guys.
And congrats on the new job.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. You're the type of person who had one job, got really greedy, decided to take another when some of us are still looking for them, Yoni?
Wow. So... Well, hopefully, Travis, we'll be able to find you something new, good, and soon.
Yeah, are you hiring?
Yeah. Let me talk to my boss about that.
Yeah, thank you. That'd be
That's
great.
a no.
I'd appreciate it.
Travis, some people have translatable skill sets, unlike you or I, so they can find work again quickly.
Oh, I see. Okay, bye, Yoni. Okay. I see we got two people queued up. Maybe that's how we'll end the show with these two folks.
Yeah, so one of them I think has a serious question and one doesn't, so
Okay.
I will try and get the serious one first.
Thank you, Sin of Friday, for the sub. Really appreciate it. Reminder, subs are half off right now. What a deal. What a deal. Look at all these amazing emotes you get. Throw them in the Twitch chat. Great situation. And thanks everyone for tuning into the pilot of our show. I'm really excited about the turnout. We have pretty good number of people. Hello, and now we have Penitent Tangent. How's it going, Penitent?
See, he could say it right, Mark.
Yeah.
I'm doing a lot of stuff right now. There's a light bulb change behind me. It makes me nervous.
Penitent Tangent. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Arizona.
From where?
Arizona.
Arizona. Okay, so one state over. What's the heat been like over there recently?
It's really overblown.
Nice.
People living in Arizona are used to it. It's not that hot.
Yeah. You guys had a Trump rally not too long ago. That's exciting for the state, I'm sure.
Hey, let's keep this unpolitical, Travis.
Is there what's your question? What's your question for us, Penitent?
I just wanted to know what you guys thought would be the most exciting or most storied matchup, regardless of the actual draws, because the draws might only allow certain teams to actually face each other. But what would be, out of all the teams going, like the coolest matchup that could be faced?
I am excited for the TSM SKT final. I think that is going to be.
All right, hold on. Let's knock out like including the like where it is in the match. Because otherwise,
I'm excited for the TSM
Fnatic
SKT
TSM
match
finals
anywhere after groups.
Versus NA decided who's the best region in the world. Of course that's the best storyline.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, regardless of their, I don't know.
I mean, I think the draws got pretty lucky that we get to see SKT EDG again, but other than that, I've been having trouble like figuring out what a really good matchup would be.
Yeah, it does seem like there's a bit of a reset that's occurred.
Well, I think
I honestly like it anytime NA goes up against Europe, and especially given our record against their supposed best team, I think that's pretty fun.
Well, I mean, I think most people say G2 is their best team.
Yeah.
And I know Rift Rivals happened, but there's also this thing called MSI.
I don't remember. I don't think that was held this year, right?
I think TSM versus G2 would be great just because they're both clearly the best teams in their regions. They've both won a shitload in the last 2 years. So it'd be nice to see at the most important tournament of the year, the top two teams from the Western regions getting together and battling it out. So that one's cool. And I'd also like to see Samsung Galaxy versus SKT, just a rematch of the final.
I was going to say that. That seems really cool.
Yeah, that would be a good match.
Not to mention like such historic brands and the creative side. So that's a good question. Thank you so much, Penitent Tangent,
Thank you for having
the
me.
tangent you sent us on just now. All right.
Oh my god, dude.
Mark, you want to grab the last caller?
Yeah, we'll see how this goes.
Yep.
Welcome, Ron Swanson.
Hey.
How's it going, Ron? So, Ron, where are you calling from?
South Carolina.
South Carolina, all right. Yeah. And
wasn't someone else from South Carolina, or am I tripping?
No, nobody else was from South Carolina. We didn't have any duplicates, I don't believe.
Okay.
Ron, can you do you have a specific question for us, or should we discuss the topic that Mark's been looking for?
I don't have any questions. I'm just here because you asked for a obnoxious TSM fan.
Okay.
All right, so just describe the levels of your obnoxiousness. Like we've heard a couple people on the spectrum. Where are you on the TSM obnoxious spectrum?
I think out of everyone that you've talked to, I'm the highest. I went on a huge rant after Worlds last year because I got really pissed that we lost. So
where did you go on the rant?
I get annoyed on Twitter.
Okay.
I don't use Reddit.
Okay.
Would you describe yourself as like a shit poster though? Like when Bjergsen tweets, "Oh, sorry, we let you down, team fans." Are you one of the people who responds to that tweet and says like, "Kill yourself" or anything like that?
I don't say kill yourself. I'm like, dude, you fucking suck.
Have you tweeted at a player that they suck?
Yeah, I think.
Okay.
At some point last year.
All right. So, what? All right, we're learning here. So, what drew you to TSM as a brand?
Well, I started playing beginning of season 6, so I was just looking through YouTube for league stuff, and I found TSM Legends.
Okay.
So I was like, this is really cool. So I got really deep into the team.
Okay. And so TSM Legends, and what specifically? Is it just the personalities of the players, or?
Yeah, I think the ability to feel like you're connecting with the players by watching that.
Yeah.
Was kind of cool.
All right. Now, why do you think it is that you can't express your when TSM loses? What is the philosophy, the reasoning for going on like a Twitter rant?
All right, my thought process is always at TSM, like last year specifically, because that's when I started watching, that they were good enough to get way farther in World. They just didn't play like it.
Okay.
So it just annoyed me,
Yeah. So they let you down.
Yeah.
All right, and listen, it's fair. TSM let down a lot of people last year at Worlds, but not everyone went to Twitter and ranted angrily about it, and that's fine. It's fine that you did it. Like, there's no judgment here. But what was the impulse? Like, did you feel like you just needed a vent, or you wanted them to see it, or what was it?
Yeah,
I don't know. I get tilted really easily, so when I see shit like that, I just go. I need to tell someone my frustrations. Let someone know that they should have done better at Worlds.
Yeah.
Do you hope that they read it, or did you not really care? This was just like you spewing your emotions out.
I mean, it would be kind of nice if they read it, but
it'd be nice if they read.
It wasn't a main goal.
Okay.
It would be nice if they know my frustration.
Okay. Do you feel like your frustrations outrival their frustrations when they lose?
No. I definitely don't think that.
Okay.
It's just in the heat of the moment, you know, I get really tilted. So
Yeah. Do you play League of Legends as a game?
Yeah.
Have you ever been, punished for behavioral issues in League of Legends?
It's really funny because legit 2 days ago I got punished and I couldn't talk in chat for 10 games.
Okay. Was that your first time being punished?
That was my first time being punished.
All right.
Do you ever receive like harassment by other people? Like, do you have a TSM logo or anything? Because one of the guys was saying,
Legit, the last game I played, I had a TSM logo, the New Worlds one, and someone was like, TSM fan, lol. And I was just like, I mean, okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure you said exactly okay.
Just like, okay.
Do you have other friends that watch competitive League of Legends?
Some, but not near as much as I do.
Okay. Are they also TSM fans?
I don't think so. I think they're like Immortals fans or some shit like that.
Okay.
I'm like,
so have you ever gotten like an argument? Like, so you say you don't post on Reddit much, but like, what about Twitter or anything? Like, have you ever like? Because I think that's where like a lot of the TSM fans suck mentality comes from, is like their arguments with other people online. So like, yes, you've spewed on your own timeline, but like, has there been a post that you've responded to, then someone else responds to, and then you get like this back and forth?
Oh yeah, I had a big argument about something. It was after Worlds, and I was just like talking about something. He was just talking about how NA could never do good at Worlds, never. And I was like, that makes no sense. They have to at some point at least do decent.
Yeah. What do you think TSM's chances are at this Worlds?
I mean, I think they're a good enough team to reasonably make semis. They have to play like it. I feel like they're really bad just choking on the international stage.
Yeah.
Even though I think they're good enough to be that. They just play.
So you say that you think they could get to semis. This is surprising me. I would expect like most TSM fans to be like, oh, they can definitely win.
Well, I think if they like y'all was saying, if they got really lucky and missed out on playing, like SKT gets knocked out by someone, Longzhu gets knocked out by someone, then yeah, they could. But realistically, I would just be happy with the semis.
Yeah.
I mean, so if you think do you think they need to dodge Korean teams to get to the semis, or do you think they can get to the semis through a Korean team in quarters?
I think they could beat Samsung. I haven't watched a lot of Longzhu, so I don't know much, but I've watched SKT, and obviously they're gods. But I think they could legitimately beat Samsung in semis or quarters.
Yeah. Who is your favorite player on TSM?
Ooh, I love Hanser. He's my favorite. Yeah.
Okay, so
is it because he takes his shirt off?
Oh yeah. Oh, he's amazing.
So let's say TSM gets out or doesn't make it out of groups this year. First off, how are you going to feel? Is it going to be similar to last year, or are your expectations lowered?
My expectations are a bit lower, but I would be probably more annoyed due to the fact that how easy this group should be.
Okay, so you maybe you'll go on Twitter and post all this stuff. Let me set up a theoretical scenario. You see TSM losing groups. You're super disappointed. They go out and they lose. It's embarrassing. They lost to the wild card team that somehow made it into their group.
Yeah, they were so close to making it. They just need to get the 2 seed, and they lose to some wild card seed in their group, and Misfits and the other team get out.
The next week you were in the local Chick-fil-A line in South Carolina. And Hanser is in front of you with his girlfriend. You see him, you recognize him. All right.
Yeah.
What do you say to him after he's let you down so much?
And he didn't flash ult again on Kennen.
Yeah.
Okay, I would 100% not say anything to Hanser because he's a big dude, and I would get my ass handed to me.
Okay.
Okay, what would you say online later, though?
Yeah.
I would say so much shit because he didn't know it was me, so I would say so much shit.
Okay,
online.
So you admit to hiding behind the anonymity.
Keyboard warrior.
Yeah.
Definitely.
All right. And you're okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, why not?
Very good. Yeah, why not? We learned a lot tonight, Ron, and I feel like you helped us.
Do you think you'll ever change your final question? Do you think you'll ever change your ways? Is there any hope for you in the future?
I mean, I hope so. I'm trying to be less toxic, but it's not working great.
And really, isn't that just the state of humanity as a whole? We're all trying to be less toxic.
I mean, that should be the goal of every human.
Yep, I agree. And really, I feel like we've learned a lot in this conversation. Thank you so much, Ron Swanson, for your time on the show. Enjoy your Southern Carolina Chick-fil-A. Have a good one. Well, thank you to everyone who called in. Mark, I feel like this was I enjoyed this a lot.
Yeah, I had a ton of fun.
Yeah. I hopefully we get a chance to do this again next week before I leave for China, and then maybe we can figure out a way to do it once I'm in China. But hopefully the fans enjoyed it too. Fans, if you enjoyed it, please let us know, or if you feel like it needs to be improved, feel free to tweet at us or leave a message or something like that. Mark and my Twitter are up on screen right here below our names. A special shout out to Benson. I don't know if he's still in the chat, but Benson, who did all the graphics for the show.
These are sick.
Yeah, and that was really great. We do have this Discord that I'm putting the info back up on screen for. If you guys want to join, I think in the future maybe we can do some sort of announcement or post when the show's going to go live again, and then that'll allow you. We have 83 people on the Discord, so maybe if you didn't get a chance to ask your question this time in the future, you will be able to. Mark, you have anything you want to shout out?
Nope. Thanks everybody for watching. Thank you for calling in. I'm glad nobody trolled us. That was a big concern, that we get somebody in the waiting room, they seem reasonable, they get on air, they start screaming, but pretty cool fans overall, I'd say. So I like it.
No, I mean, I think we were worried, I thought this would be awkward or shitty, but and hopefully we get some guests on as well. Everyone, this has been Hotline League. Thank you so much for watching. Tune in next time. What if I was still here, everyone? What if I never actually left? And you can still hear my voice on the stream. Just a ghost. A ghost. You've heard of Ghost on the Shell? This is Ghost on the Stream. It's shocking, isn't it? You thought you were safe. But here I am. Thank you to everyone who supported the show tonight. That was really nice of you. I'm probably gonna host somebody. Who should I host? I think I have an idea of who I'm gonna host. Oh, Skipper, we need to move cars.